So I know we just finished Passover, and so you're probably wondering, why are we talking so much about Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur is only 7 months from now. I know, it just kind of sneaks up on you. And I love what Eden prepared about talking about Yom Kippur, and she really talked about what does it mean, our relationship with other people. And this morning, I'd like to talk about Yom Kippur as being in relationship with ourselves and how we think about how we treat ourselves, which really does affect how we treat other people. The Torah portion says that Ki vayom hazeh yechaper alechem letaher etchem mikol chatotechem lifnei Adonai titharu, that on this day you will make yourselves holy and you will atone for your sins. But the word here that's sin is chet. The word chet is a word that means you tried to do the right thing, your intentions were good, but it really didn't work out. We have other words for purposeful sins where you really try to harm someone else. But a chet is actually an old archery word where it means to miss the mark. You're trying to hit the target with your life, but it just didn't work out. But we still have to make up for that anyway. We still have to be aware of it. And this day of Yom Kippur is actually called a Shabbat. It's called Shabbat Shabbaton. It is the highest level of Shabbat. And I'll explain in a moment why I think that's important in this context. But what I want to think about with Yom Kippur is that it's not a day about punishing ourselves. It's not about saying what a terrible person we are. Because my guess is you're telling yourself that every day anyway. The only people who don't say that are the worst people I know. But most people who are generally good people who try to do the right thing, they always feel bad that they didn't do more, that they could have helped more people. The stinkers say to themselves, I did one thing good this year, I'm good. And it turns out that thing they did wasn't so great anyway. But if you're at all self-aware, you're probably way harder on yourself than is healthy. And I think that to a large extent, that's what Yom Kippur is about. Yom Kippur is about releasing no longer what no longer works for you, releasing all the things that are holding you back, and instead trying to figure out what elevates you, what renews you, what makes you better. This doesn't mean that what you were doing before was wrong. It just means, though, that it's not needed anymore. And we carry around a lot of things because we just always did it and we don't know what else to do. And it really does hold us back in a lot of ways. So I don't want to think about sin here as I'm a terrible person. You know, during the portion on Yom Kippur, we tap our heart to remind ourselves we're not punishing ourselves, but to be warm-hearted, to use our heart for good things and kindness, both for others and for ourselves as well. Now, on Shabbat, we think about challah and wine or grape juice and delicious foods, and Yom Kippur is none of that. So the question is, why is Yom Kippur considered to be a Shabbat? And I think it's a Shabbat of reevaluating ourselves. If you think about everything on Yom Kippur that we refrain from, it's something that we have an issue with in our everyday lives. So the first thing we refrain from is eating. I have a very mixed relationship with food. I have tried to break up with it. Unsuccessfully, I keep coming back. I have a very mixed relationship with food throughout my life, and if you've got several hours, I can give you the whole history of it and why I have clothing in 58 different sizes, which I know as soon as I give them away, what I have left will no longer fit, and I have proof. But so far, so good. I've been trying to become friends with what I eat. That's the wrong way of putting it. I try to eat foods that are friendly on me, and not that I have to fight with or struggle with. But it's my issue. I don't know if any of you have ever had an issue in terms of food, but it's a thing. And I can joke around about it, but it's an issue. And Yom Kippur is a time to think about what is our relationship with food. Are we eating foods that are actually food, things that are good for us, or are we just lapsing into habits? But it's also a time to think about, is there enough food for other people? Right? Eden volunteers at Yad Ezra with her family because there are a lot of people who are food insecure. So Yom Kippur is a time to think about our relationship with food, but other people's ability to have food. Another thing we refrain from is drinking. Now, it's not just water, but it's also wine. What is our relationship with things that are intoxicating? Some people can handle it, some people can't. And some people don't know they can't until it's too late. It's an opportunity to think about how these kind of intoxicants have a role in our lives, but also in other people's lives, not to judge, but to support. It's not a sin in that you are doing a terrible thing for which you don't deserve redemption. It's an awareness that this isn't working for you, and how can you help things work for you, but also recognizing this is a challenge for other people, and again, how can you be supportive without being judgmental? How we use our bodies is something we think about on Yom Kippur. How do we express our physicality? Because on Yom Kippur, we refrain from certain kinds of physical activities. To think about what kind of agency do we have with our bodies, and how much do we try to control other people and what they do with their bodies? How much of a say do we think we should have in someone else's life? How much should someone else have a say in our lives? This is part of what Yom Kippur is as well. It's a recognition that our bodies are a very, very precious gift. You only get yours. Someone else only gets theirs, and how can we support each other instead of judging each other? So Yom Kippur really is a Shabbat in that we figure out, how do we elevate ourselves? How do we make ourselves better with what we have? But also to think about Shabbat is, do we know how to rest? Do we know how to spend one day a week with the people we say we love? We have people in our lives, we say we love them, we have no idea how to be with them. We don't know what to say to them. We don't know how to just sit and be comfortable with them. And sometimes we feel like we don't even deserve a day because there's so much to do in the world. Yom Kippur says that every single person on earth is entitled to a day every single week just to remember that they're human, that they have a chance to be with the people that you say that you love. Your kids and grandkids do not care anything what you say. They care everything what you do. And they care how you spend your time. There's a great line from the Roots. They said, "We spent our time like it was counterfeit." That we're not our real selves. Yom Kippur is a reminder that if we were created by God to just be us, that's a good thing. We don't have to be anyone else. We just have to be the best version of who we are. Every morning we say, Elohai hanashama shenatata bi taharahi. The God, the soul that you have put within us is pure. You cannot taint a soul. You can do bad things. There's no such thing as a bad soul. And to wake up and to think about, what are we going to do with ourselves? What are we going to do with the lives that we've been given today? So the time to prepare for Yom Kippur is actually every single day. is to think about how we can be kind and patient with others, how we can be kind and patient with ourselves. It's about remembering that our better nature, our true nature, is good. No matter how bad a day we have, no matter how much we don't get it right, we can always be our true and good selves, and we can always rejoice in our ability to create our best lives and bring that joy to other people. Shabbat Shalom.